There is a revolving door. I don't know how far that can spread, you know. I know that it's always got to be comfortable. A group can only work when it feels really comfortable. If it means change to get the comfort factor back, then there has to be change. But it's been really thrilling to see us move forward over the last few years and make a serious commitment to the future. Although I'd heard of the band when I got invited to audition for them, basically I hadn't heard them. I heard about them. So I had a rough idea this band was something, you know, there was something going on and I didn't know much about it. The guy said, you know, come on down and play. So my first introduction really was you know, face to face. And they played stuff and, you know, I got the rough idea of whatever song it was and we played a few songs together. It was a heads down experience, you know, so getting the gig was the first thing, and then finding out really the breadth of the music was very exciting. Of course, Chris and John were already writers, so they had some things going that, you know, I was joining. And yeah, I definitely encouraged them to think about a completely original album without any covers. And because Yours in No Disgrace was a on the table, it was we wanted to make it more than just a song. So obviously there was a lot of openings to throw in instrumental sections, like I did with the wah-wah guitar, the stops and things that I'd been playing in other incarnations, and I wanted to bring those in to Yes, because I you know, it was showing that I was going to be a contributor to that direction. After that album was constructed and we could see the album, and going on tour was an opportunity to see if we had ideas, and that's how we moved on to Fragile so successfully. Was in fact John and I did work together and start writing, you know, songs like Roundabout. That was a really good development for me, because I felt this really was a band that I could give my 100% to. That was what I wanted to do, and that's why Rick came in, because Rick wanted to do a similar thing on the keyboards, you know, have a very broad sound, have orchestral sounds, synthesized string machines, everything we could get our hands on. And I was similar, you know, in my range of guitar ambition, that I didn't just want to play a particular thing, I wanted to be kind of all round. Quickly we got a following. I mean, Yes already had somewhat of a following. We were not overtly egotistical, but we were confident to an exuberant point, you know, that we were sure we were you know, able to entertain. There was these ingredients that we had that were so individual. Bill brought that experimentation to it, and then guitar solos got stretched, and then organ solos got stretched, So I think the idea of having fun, and John was a great singer, Chris, with his presence on stage and his performance, it was a very good kind of, a very good exciting time for us. We weren't fabricating this. We were excited.
Because the music is different. Not a lot of people play the same kind of stuff as we do. It's complex and yet it's melodic and it's got lots of harmonies and it's entertaining to the ear. But it's not easy to listen to it. So I guess that's challenging for a lot of people, and I think that's part of the longevity of the band is definitely due to that aspect. But there's been so many eras of different lineups and different eras of music, and it's been quite an interesting journey, really. I went through the 80s, not like everybody, playing 90125 and all that success we had in that area. So for me, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride in all different directions, and musically too.
Collaborating to write a whole album, without John Anderson, was a new challenge. Well, I mean, lo and behold, Trevor comes in after that concept, the Buggles meets Yes kind of thing, which to a lot of people made no sense, and on the surface you would have said it makes no sense, but in fact, Chris Squire did have an instinctive ability to sometimes judge a situation and say, no, this guy's, have you heard the album? Because when Chris said to me, have you heard the album? Forget Video Killed the Radio Star, but have you heard the album? And when I did, I knew what he meant, that these guys were really, really talented, and it was just what we needed. We needed something new and fresh to bring a whole thing, but also they love Yes, so that was a great opportunity. Trevor was very, very inventive on that album, and did most of the lyrics. So it was a tall order.
Take it away, Steve. Time flies.
Well, you see, the first time I ever heard Yes, it wasn't Yes. I was probably, how old would I have been? 21, 22 years old, which meant it would have been 72, 73, and we went to a local pub where bands used to play on a Friday night, and there was this band on, and they were called Tristram Shandy or something like that. So I'm hearing Seeing All Good People basically in this pub, and the girl I was with, I said, that's not their song, that's by a group called Yes. I was like, God, that's really good. So I went out and bought the album, which was the Yes album, and when I heard Starship Trooper, I was just totally hooked. met Chris and he invited me down to his place in Virginia Water. And the funny thing is, when we got there, his kids were waiting to get our autograph. It was a kind of big moment for me because I was, you know, being a bass player, I always really liked Chris's bass playing. I mean, that's kind of an understatement, really. When you're a bass player, you know, you normally are so, you know, you're playing I was playing other people's bass parts. That's fine. I really enjoyed playing. But when I heard Chris, it was like, God, that's the first time I've really heard somebody play a bass guitar like it was a guitar. And so I guess all the way through the 70s I was kind of, you know, I bought all the albums, I used to listen to them going, you know, driving to gigs late at night. And I just always loved Chris's playing. I was also a big fan of John because, you know, I don't have a soulful voice, and I never heard anybody like John before John, you know what I mean? And John kind of made me think, well, I can do that, you know, I can't sing like in the midnight hour, but I can sing like that a bit, you know, and so meeting him was a kind of a surreal experience. But back then, in 1980, Alan, Chris and Steve had close quarters in a rehearsal room. It was fearsome. I'd never heard anything like it. So it was an amazing experience.
First time I heard Yes music was when I studied for my A-levels at school. So I must have been about 17, 18. And I got the vinyl of Time of the Word. And I thought it was one of the most incredible albums I've ever heard. I just kept playing it and playing it because you know, they obviously got the orchestral part of No Opportunity, and I thought this is, you know, I can really get into this. It was the musicianship that really attracted me to it. That it was extra special, you know, extra special musicianship. Well, it was quite an experience, and certainly working with Steve, Chris and Alan, because, you know, I'd never really worked with a band of that anything like that caliber before, and so these were guys who were, you know, legends in their own craft. For Trevor and I, it seemed quite a natural progression, you know, because we were a vocalist and a keyboard player, and we just kind of morphed into them, and it was an amazing time for me because it's something that I always wanted to do, and to get into a band like Yes was really a dream come true.
Because basically, Chris and I had a strangest relationship. We never spent enough time in a room with just the two of us, you know, which was the only real way we could have been more creative in the writing sense together. But we worked terrifically well together in the group, you know, and took each other's ideas and developed them. But as far as writing songs, you know, that wasn't something we did a great deal of together. But it's been really thrilling to see us move forward over the last few years with Billy, since Billy, and make a serious commitment to the future.
At a very young age, 12, I started listening to Yes music, and Close to the Edge was the first thing I heard. And I didn't like it at first. And then about a week or two later, I had to hear it again. And then I fell into it, and I've been a huge fan ever since. I met Chris in '88, somewhere around there. I met all the guys and became inside the loop, so to speak, from that point forward. Playing live with the guys is the most fun. I love recording and engineering and playing and writing and all that stuff, but being on stage with the band is an incredibly unique experience. I think I'm one of the only guys who's played with Yes in different variations and lineups. You know, I played with the 9125 version, what they call the classic version, and without Rick there, but still nevertheless the classic version. So it's been incredibly exciting, but live is what I like the most.
Well, probably hearing Owner of a Lonely Heart on the radio. I was maybe a freshman in high school, so 9th grade, sort of 16. Me and my good buddy Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of the Foo Fighters, we grew up together. So that was one of our favorite songs at the time. I then went back and discovered all the 70s period and took it all in and became a broader fan at that point. You could always feel that common denominator, the pulse of the rhythm section. But yeah, the guitar work completely different. And then of course, John's signature voice on top of it, and the harmony structures of the vocals were very much in that same spirit. It's such a blessing. I still have to pinch myself and say, is this really happening? It's such an honor to get to work with these, luminaries, these amazing master craftsmen of their art. Heroes of mine growing up, and I'm just a few feet away from Steve, for example, on stage, just watching him play, and it's just such a privilege.
I've worked individually with Yes members since 1981, so I was in band with Tony, and then playing with Peter Banks at the Central every week. So all this was happening in Los Angeles, and then eventually started working with Billy Sherwood, to which we did many projects with Chris, and then Circa. With Alan did the Circa, and then I subbed for Alan in Circa. So this has been a thing for so many years, and then when I got the call, I had 3 days to just get it together. Off to Pennsylvania, and then rehearsed for about 7 to 8 days or so, and then off on the 2016 summer tour. And Alan has always been that guy for me. So the momentum, the feel, the swing that's in the groove and everything has always felt very natural to me. So this has been just, a complete hand-in-glove pleasure.
When Roger did the Fragile album, the first one, we were all excited because we hadn't really seen anything like it. And we went, oh Roger, that's great, Fragile, a bit of the world's falling apart, all this kind of thing. And then when we got to close to the edge and he had the logo came on board and the big grand picture, then we were in the sort of floating islands of Roger Dean, which we still are in.
Well, I was introduced to Yes by Phil Carson. He liked my work, and he said he introduced me when they next needed a cover. And so I first met them in the studio. They'd just gone into Advision, actually, and they were just starting to record Fragile. So there's not really any music to listen to there. So the first music I actually heard of Yes was their previous albums. And the one that really caught my attention was The Worm. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. What I wanted to do and what I felt their kind of music did was take you to another place. And that's what I wanted to paint, that other place where you went. I didn't have the songs or the music of that album to wrap the idea of the narrative around. It was really based on what it might be, not what it was. I felt Yes needed a logo, and I thought that the design I did for the cover of Fragile wasn't really a logo. I literally came up with the Yes logo on a train journey. I did 6 sketches where by the end it started to look like the Yes logo, and all I had to do was do a sort of finished drawing of it. So the Yes logo came out of just the idea that it made sense that the band had a visual identity over and above the paintings. You know, it was, oh, why don't we use that alone on the cover, or with the title on the cover? I liked that, and I was very much up for that, but it did mean the painting was on the inside. The band was amazing, but I really felt we could do something unbelievably amazing with them. By then, Yes were playing to bigger and bigger audiences, and you really couldn't see them anymore. The ease of large screens and everything wasn't available. So we wanted to make their visual presence powerful and amazing and mysterious. Actually, with the tour merchandising, we did the first statewide merchandising. I don't think anyone had done that before. What I wanted to do was to control, not from the point of view of commercial reasons, but just aesthetic reasons, the physical look. Getting the logo used properly, t-shirts, posters, all that stuff, saying yes in one voice.
One way I like to think about Yes fans is that in fact the ears just happened to have been in a particular place when they heard Yes. They heard something and they went, oh, who's this? You know, kind of stuff. And I think that they're the people who've stayed with us the long term. They enjoyed the collaboration that always existed in Yes music. And I think that's what Yes fans hear. But I think the Yes fan is not a Yes fan in one solitary sense, because not only are we thrilled to see young people who've heard about Yes as a band, oh, they've been going years, you know, and they might be musicians or they might just be music lovers coming to us, and they're young people and they love Yes, you know, suddenly they feel they've got something that not everybody is tuned into. The long-term fans who have been with us and they keep coming back and they've got all the albums and the solo albums and all that, it's beautiful. You know, you can't imagine how beautiful, you know, this is for us.
The real thing that is satisfying to me is, you know, for a band to achieve 50 years is quite something anyway. But I've been in 46 years, going on for 47 of those years. Myself, which is, I find incredible. If you told me when I started in 72, I would say, no way, you know. But here I am, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all because it's never stood still. You know, Yes is one of those bands that never rested on its laurels. It's always continued to challenge itself, always continued to come up with new music. To have gone through all the different chapters and all the musicians that were associated with it, it's been a real privilege to be part of that.
You know, we stand at the 50-year mark now, which obviously is a culmination of all that's happened since. But it's also a confirmation that, you know, if something can thrive for 50 years, why not 100 years?
Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know, we'll have to see. At that point, I'm sure there'll be AI robots playing all this stuff or something better than all of us can.
I honestly don't think anyone anticipated it would be a 50th anniversary of any band. The music will outlast the band.